Welcome back, Viking Voice listeners. Today we have episode 4 with a special guest who, if you don't know, is Adam right here. And would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you?
Yeah, my name is Adam Dailey. I'm the track and cross country coach, and I also have 3 kids at this school.
Okay, you've had a very interesting life as an athlete, entrepreneur, and also author. Which one do you think identifies with you the most?
I mean, all those things, I guess not the author thing, but like the being an athlete and entrepreneur, I think are tied together. I mean, competitive kind of mindset in addition to, wanting to win, in addition to discipline and having to do hard things, right? As an athlete, you have to make a ton of sacrifices. As when you run your own businesses, you got to make your own types of sacrifices, right?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of like elements are linked together throughout those things.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why we want kids to do sports and stuff, right? Because it teaches them like the right habits, right?
Yeah.
And there's this feedback loop of like you work hard and you get better at something.
Strong body, strong mind.
Huh. So out of like all your different careers, like what would you say you had the most fun in?
Well, I used to take like huge groups of people to the Olympics and World Cup. That was pretty awesome. I did that for like 15 years and like did all the athletes and like sponsors and different groups and got to live in all these Olympic cities and stuff. So yeah, that was pretty fun.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna start off. The first segment's gonna be more about your career as an athlete, specifically running, obviously. So when did you first fall in love with running?
I realized I was good in running when I was like junior high, and then played football and ran in high school, and then was a much better runner. So eventually just started doing that. I don't know if I've ever like loved running. Like I just love being a competitor and being good at something, and it's easy for me because I can kind of just get out the door and do it versus like having to go like change my wardrobe and drive somewhere and do something like surfing or something like that.
So like when you first got in cross country or running in general, like how long did it take for you to get competitive and like serious into it?
I mean, I think running is something you get better and better at. It's like it's just a progression. So I think I got better and better every year. When I quit football, I definitely like got like it was a choice I'd made of like, I'm going to focus more on running right now. So,
Okay. Do you have any important like setbacks that may have almost caused you to stop before you became so successful?
To stop running or stop
being active?
I mean, I've been injured here and there for sure. I stopped running for like 15 years, like when I was an adult, just because I was like lazy and got fat and like, and just was like, didn't like running anymore because I was so disciplined all those years.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm over this. I want to go back to just, eating and drinking what I want. And I think, I kind of got back into that like 2015. I started running again.
Really?
Okay. Super dope.
All right. So moving on from your career in high school, how was your recruitment process and where did you run in college?
So I ran at University of Arkansas, which at the time was the best running school. We won 42 national championships, including 9 when I was there.
Wow.
And so that was by far the top choice. I visited Stanford and Notre Dame and Georgetown as well. So I was like looking at more academic places, but I just had to kind of play the athlete card. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun process. We only got a few trips back then. My daughter here, she's gone through the same process and it's a lot different now. So it's like, it's fun to watch the differences in the last 30 years and that kind of recruitment process.
So how is like the recruitment process different from back then and now?
Well, now it's like, it's a lot more professional, I would say. You have unlimited trips. Like back then, we could only go on 5 trips. They were very strict on a lot of things. Really? Whereas like now they'll fly the parents out and stuff. Like so, It's like we got to get flown out to some of these recruiting trips as parents and get wined and dined and stuff. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. Well, I have a question for the student athletes who may be on the fence about going to college for a sport. What would you say to them? How would you recommend it, or how would you?
I would say now is a very interesting time with all the stuff going on with the House First NCAA settlement and the Title IX, and it's tougher now, so it's like you really have to like do your research and decide you want to do that, especially on the Division I level. There's roster limits now that are going to be challenging for everyone. I mean, there's it's changing really, really fast. So if you're not paying attention, you're just like again, if I had just taken that 30 years off and not paid attention, I would have been overwhelmed by all the things going on with, like I said, with NIL deals and with different, the way they structure scholarships and things like that. So it's all changed and it's all changing like so rapidly right now. So I would encourage people to do it if you can get it paid for sure. And if you want to do sports in college, like there's always a way to do it, right?
Yeah. So what are you mentioned like everything's changing, it's still changing. So I think a really big thing right now in like college sports is like the transfer portal. So what are your opinions on that? And like,
it's just professionalizing college sports. And I think that's, there's something positive about that. Personally, I'm like old school, so I think it's mostly negative when you see, a guy who can be a senior and he's at his fourth college, like I see runners who are, literally like transferring by Thanksgiving their freshman year. And they're like, you're like, and I'm like, so you gave this new thing like 90 days, like, of course you're homesick or you don't like this or whatever. So I think it ultimately it teaches kind of bad values of like, oh, this coach yelled at me, I'm going in the transfer portal. Like you see, oh, they're not getting playing time or they want more financial opportunity. That's what they're promoting it as. But I think it's really just like I said, professionalizing sports to where you don't have that school spirit. You switch for money, or you switch because your girlfriend switched, or you switch because you for reasons that aren't what NCAA has been about in the past.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move over to the next segment, just about you as a coach and you as a dad. So first of all, how is it coaching you coach cross country in the track team?
Yep.
How is it coaching both of those teams?
It's great. I mean, there's a lot of good kids out there in terms of like that, some of the smartest kids in the school. And it's a sport I know a lot about, and I kind of got started like getting involved when Kiara came in as a freshman as like a volunteer coach. And then from there, just got kind of the head coach left, and I ended up taking the spot. But it's a cross country is a little like less chaos because it's just fewer kids and it's like they're all running the same distance ultimately. Whereas track, you just got more meets and more events and way more kids. There's like over 100 kids in track. Whereas cross country, it's like, less than half of that.
So here's like a question I've been wondering for a while. So I know in like a lot of other sports like basketball, soccer, like a coach really matters in like the way like who to put in the game, the different plays. So what effect does a coach have on its players as a cross country coach? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's two kind of components. One is like the physical side of like, are you doing the right workouts, right? So we work out a lot. We run every day, and like every other day we run hard, But it's like, are you looking at the physical components? Oh, this athlete needs rest, or this athlete should be doing 4 of these reps instead of 3. So that's the physical part, which is just, you have to always be learning and testing new things and talking to your athletes. And then there's the I guess we call it the mental part, which is like, are you motivating them? Are you letting them know, giving them strategies? Like, I think you guys should do this for the first part of the race and then do this, or talking to them in training and making them feel like they can be, great. Or
especially for kids, I just think that running's like a super mental sport, and it's a lot of things that people would quit because it's literally the punishment for most sports. So if a kid just decides, all right, I'm gonna keep running, cross country is like multiple miles. Like I think like after 5, most like kids who haven't like fully matured and have that like discipline would be like, all right, like why am I even doing this?
I mean,
or they would just
half our team is like that. I mean, we get a lot of kids who don't want to be there. They want to be getting out of PE credit, and I'm like, you guys picked the wrong sport because we're gonna be running in this thing. And so, and you see it in races. You see some kids are just they will push beyond what they physically can do, and because they're just meant to endure that pain, right? And that's a different. And you'll see another kid who's super talented, and you're like, this kid should be way better, but he just can't. He can't. He doesn't want to get into that pain cave, and he's just like his mouth is closed when he's racing. He's comfortable, And
you ever have any talks with Coach Atwell?
Yeah, of course.
He's been in the running industry. You ever go on runs with him or no?
I haven't gone on runs with him. I mean, maybe I did a couple laps with him when he does his like 100-miler or whatever. But I haven't. But yeah, I mean, we've hung out a little bit. My son played water polo, and all my kids have him for class too.
That's super stoked.
So like, just on the topic of that, like, how difficult is it to run like 100 miles? Or let me rephrase that.
Difficult. I've never run 100 miles.
So
that sounds
we
pretty
had
hard.
Owl on the podcast a few weeks ago, and like we were asking him like, what's the most difficult part for you? And like he's saying there's like the physical aspect and the mental aspect. And like I want to hear like from a coach and like a runner yourself, like what's like the harder part, the physical aspect or the mental aspect?
I mean, again, it's different when you're talking about like the stuff we do, right? Because ours is very like intentional and planned out, whereas like running 100 miles is just like a crazy thing to do, right? Like there's definitely going to be things where like you can't plan. No, you can't train. I have friends who do 100 miles. You don't train for that. Like you can train like 40 or 50 miles in your training runs, but after that, like it's all bets are off, and your quad might start hurting, or your knee might swell up, or your shoes might get too small, or whatever. All these crazy things happen when you're out there. So it is. Yeah. I've done marathons, and it is a mental thing where you're like seeing people, and that's what I talk about. Like you're going to the pain cave, and you're just like you're like imagining stuff, right? You're like you're like, oh, is that my dead uncle over there on the side of the road cheering me on? Like because you're in a dark spot, you know.
Yeah.
So for your kids, you know, Kiara, how did you instill such like a kind of like motivating like mindset in them? Because I mean, in middle school even, she was passing like all the guys in like the mile, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I would say we're just a very like competitive like family. I mean, I see that all the time, the way we eat dinner, and it's a competition to get the food first, and it's a competition of like everything is a competition. So it's like awesome. She's been raised in a very competitive way. Obviously, she's also had that extra spark, and it was just she wants to win, you know. And I think all of our kids, you know, it's like some families are, you know, they have all the kids play instruments and they're really musically gifted, and some families are, you know, really great artists, and some families are great scientists, and really, you know, I see that a lot in La Jolla. And our family, just athletics has always been like really important to us, you know. And so it's like my wife and I both ran the Olympic trials, and we're both All-Americans in college, and so we were both. That was an important part of it, not just running, but sports in general.
Do you guys meet? Through like athletics?
Yeah, in high school.
Oh, that's
we were both state champions in high school. So.
Wow.
Okay. That's something.
What was your role as a dad in supporting Kiara with her first NIL deal and eventually her commitment to Stanford?
So on the NIL stuff, I did most of that. Like I said, I saw this ever-changing like landscape of how it was working, and I have a lot of contacts within that industry. So I knew kind of who to call from the different shoe companies and kind of put deals together. And it was kind of the right place at the right time in terms of her and her marketability and the way she was competing, but also like they have a national championships here in San Diego, which everyone should come out and watch this year, by the way.
All right.
It's the nationals, and it's been there for 40 or 50 years. I mean, my wife and I competed, and it's the top 40 kids in the country come to San Diego. Wow. And so Hoka was like the presenting sponsor last year. And so they really wanted to have one of the big name runners. So that worked out like super well for her, because we just got into like a bidding war, whereas like I almost felt bad about, you know, the idea of like these companies really want her and they were offering her a lot of money, and I'm like, but then another company would say, I'll pay a little more, and I was like, dude, I feel bad, but they're paying, you know, this much more.
That's just business. Yeah. I mean, also, are you the reason that we got sponsored by Hoka last year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I still have my shoes, so
yeah, they've been a really good partner to to Kiara, but also the high school. I mean, they've given us uniforms and cross country, full warm ups.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, why are we getting free stuff right now?
Yeah,
like public school, it's kind of random.
Yeah, for sure,
but it's really cool. Thank you for that.
For sure, thank Kiara.
Shout out Kiara, you know, big runner, one of the best at the school. Not one of like
the best, probably the best long distance easily.
Yeah. And for Stanford, we helped guide her, but that was all, you know, kind of her. And I mean, I think we had learned from our experiences of, like I said, I was full athlete. Like I was like, I'm all in on athletics. And I was like, looking back on it, a Stanford degree would have been nice because that was my second choice. And so I've always kind of told her, like, I don't regret going to Arkansas, but like, here's what these choices mean. And so, Kiara unfortunately couldn't get into Arkansas, so she had to go to Stanford. So that's
definitely pushing her in the right direction.
Yeah. So moving on to like your college life and like your entrepreneurship. So what were you studying at Arkansas?
I did advertising PR, and then I did an MBA there. I did an MBA after my 5th year of eligibility. So.
And what did you do after college?
After college, we moved to Spain, to Barcelona, and I worked in the Motorcycle World Championships for a couple of years, learned Spanish, and then we came back and lived in the States, and then we moved back into Greece and that's when we started our Olympics business in the 2004 Athens Olympics.
And then what was the business after that one?
I did that for like 15 years and then like kind of burnt it to the ground. Lost $1 million in like 2 weeks in London. So that was not awesome. And then started kind of getting more into real estate stuff, which is kind of what I do now, of like buying little hotels and fixing them up here in San Diego. And since I've been doing that for like 6, 7, 8 years.
You grew up here?
I grew up in Austin.
You grew up in Austin? You ever expect to live in Cali?
Kinda. My grandparents lived in Santa Monica, and I'd always come out and just be like, "Man, this is where I want to be when I grow up." And we used to come out to Mount Sac, which is outside of LA, and in Stanford in college. We'd come to those 2 meets, and it was always just like perfect weather. And I was like, "Man, one day we're gonna live in California."
So what ended up like getting you over here to San Diego?
We were in Vancouver for the Olympics for like 3 years. And we just kind of wanted to like settle down. We were moving around every couple of years, and we had Jed and Kiara by then. And so we were just like, let's go somewhere and like put roots down. And so we'd, like I said, California was like number 1 on our list. We just had to kind of narrow it down, like San Diego or Santa Barbara or San Francisco. So we're looking at all those places.
Okay. Chose the best place.
All right, for the Olympics, what's something that we wouldn't be able to see like on TV? Like what's some things that goes on back there? There's like crazy cool like parties. Like in terms of like every country has like a house. So like the French house rents out like they could rent out the high school. They wouldn't rent out the high school, but they could rent out like the high school and pimp it all out. And they have like tons of hospitality and guests coming in and athletes and music. And so, but you can't, normal people can't get in there. You have to be like an invitee of like the French Olympic Committee, right? Or one of the French teams or whatever. So every country has that. And so those are really fun, like places to go and fun parties. And it's just fun to go walk around the streets and you're hearing like, Japanese and, and
sure.
different languages, right? And different people partying together and hanging out, right?
So who was like the most famous person you met at the Olympics?
I don't know. Not many famous people, probably. I mean, not famous for me, but you guys wouldn't know him. I didn't meet Usain Bolt or Phelps or anything, but I saw him run and swim a bunch.
Oh, that's
awesome. So awesome. Wow. We heard you like AI a lot and like you make a lot of AI videos. So we're going to move over to like that type of segment. So we have an AI post that you made that we want to kind of watch with you.
Okay, Vikings, don't forget about morning practice tomorrow at 6:25.
All right, yeah, that's awesome.
So what like got you into spreading these messages through AI?
I'm playing around a lot with AI in general. It's not like videos aren't really my thing, but it's also like just in the last like couple of weeks, I've started messing around with that because it's like I've even little things like that, I can get a little more attention and with the same types of messages. So I'm kind of drilling into my whole family how important, the next few years are with AI, with technology and how fast things are going to move. So I'm really trying to like mess around with tools and stuff like that. It's just like, it's fun. But I can also adapt it to like, messages. I'm doing like little things like that. That didn't take me long, right?
Yeah.
But like everyone who's like not into that thinks it like they're like, so like one of the coaches here was like, so how'd you get in the chair and where? And I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. All I did was type a prompt and then let it roll. And then I was just like, and then I forgot about it for 5 minutes and that was it.
It's crazy. That looks so real though.
Yeah.
Like AI is getting crazy.
I've
That's
got
insane.
some better ones since then too.
Really?
All right, awesome. I can't wait to see them.
Wow. So what do you think like the role of AI is going to be for athletes and entrepreneurs?
I mean, I think this is like, we could talk like hours about this. This stuff I'm like really into, but no, I mean, it's just gonna change everything.
Yeah.
So we've never like we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
You know, we had the internet kind of boom in 2000. This is going to be like 10 times as big in terms of like the way it's going to change. So linear is the way our history has always gone, right? We kind of like go like this no matter what, right? With since, you know, before the Industrial Revolution. And now we're getting this technology where it's like Sora is twice as good as it was 10 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be, you know, now you can do 15-second videos. Soon you're going to do 30. Soon you're going to write your whole script of like, I want to watch a Netflix movie with me and my mom and Brad Pitt. And I want it to be a mystery. And I want the, you know, and it's all, but that it's going to, that's just like fun stuff. It's also like, it's going to change education in terms of sports. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to change imaging, the way you watch sports. I mean, it's all going to be interactive. You're going to be watching on, you know, with glasses or whatever, and touching screens and things like that. So everything, like, it's an interesting time for you guys right now. I think, like I said, a lot's going to change in the next like 2 to 5 years. Like,
so it's like linear, and now it's going more like exponential.
It is, and the problem is, like, as humans, we can't comprehend that. Like what that actually means, like because it's never happened. So when you like see a pond full of scum, right, and you're like, oh, it's growing and it's doubling every day, and it's at 50% scum, your brain will never guess that the next day it will be completely full because it's taken 2 months to get halfway, right? But that's the way like exponential things work, right? And so again, our like, I don't want to geek out too much, but like, it's like, that's where the shift is going to be, is like, it's going to go so fast, and people are already like, oh, I don't really like AI, or I don't think that's going to happen. I'm like, it doesn't matter whether you like it or whether you believe in it. Like, it's coming for you, so you can be crushed by the wave, or you can ride the wave.
Yeah. So like, we also interviewed Mr. Babcock on one of these podcasts, and he said like, when the calculator first came out, schools and teachers were like, no, we don't need it, blah, blah, blah. And now like, it's like a must-have for almost every math class. So like he was saying, like soon teachers and schools are gonna have to adapt to AI, and it's gonna be like something everyone's gonna have to use.
That's 100% true, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges that maybe not you guys because you're older, but like that kids are going to be facing right now is this school system is very hard to change. I see my kids. Studying the same things I studied 30 years ago, which is crazy to me how much the world's changed, and it's the same curriculum. So I'm worried about that personally.
Yeah, it's
do you think school helps you that much being an entrepreneur, or you think that's stuff you gotta kind of learn on your own?
No, I think school doesn't really help much at all, but it helps for the
it's useless, everybody.
Everyone just drop out. Like, no need to
no, for the social component, it's great. It's great for problem solving. But in terms of the curriculum, like, it needs to adapt to where we are in 2025. I mean, there's just like, and you know, AI is going to help with that, because your teacher who's teaching you math learned math a long time ago, and he's teaching it every single year, but there's new things coming out. Maybe math's not the best example, but like there's new things coming out every single week, right?
Yeah,
with all this.
Right. Like, I think school's main task would be to learn how to learn. Yeah. And you're kind of learning discipline by getting assignments in, learning time management, all that stuff. But realistically, the material isn't really going to help you that much.
It's the way you learn, like you just said. So when I took 2 years in high school Spanish and 3 years in college Spanish, and I moved to Spain, I could barely speak. Yeah. And so I learned more in a month of just like sitting in a bar talking to strangers than 5 years of school, because you're like thrown into it. They're like, I don't speak English, dude. Like, you're going to have to speak Spanish. Whereas I'm like, I can do it on a worksheet and fill in a multiple choice. And I know the opopposite of blanco is negro. Like, I speak Spanish, like, but you don't speak Spanish. Like, no, and so that's
school Spanish is
it's just an example of like multiple choice and true and false. All this stuff is like, I'm an adult. I've never done anything multiple choice. I've never crammed for anything in the last 25 years. Yeah. Like, those things are not skills that translate to being an adult, so
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, and that's all you guys do is cram and take these multiple choice and SAT. I've seen so many of my, athletes like stress on this SAT when it's just like, no, I've had very few people in the last 25 or 30 years ask me what my SAT score was.
That doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Really understanding stuff isn't just memorizing it. Like, and that's what I feel like is kind of like pushed in like this school system.
sure.
There's a lot of just like repetition, and like each year it's like new repetition but harder, and instead it should be like, all right, you're actually deeply understanding the material.
100%.
And if you whatever you want to do, like when I go to college, when I pick my major, I want to like really like submerge myself in that and become the best at it. I don't want to just like memorize a bunch of facts.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to like actually have real life experience. Internships are great for that, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, being on the job is going to help you more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's like if one of my kids is an entrepreneur, for example, I would probably be like, don't go to college, like because like
So
you're
a
not
piece of
going to
paper
learn.
isn't going to do anything. Like real.
And here's instead of
getting your
spending
hands
all this
dirty.
money and coming out with all this debt, like why don't you just go borrow a bunch of money and start a business? And if you lose it all, then you're still in debt, right? Like,
Just
that's actually
getting
very
that
true.
experiences.
I mean, I would say that for
our
entrepreneurs. I wouldn't say that if you're going to be a doctor or lawyer or something like that.
Yeah.
Although lawyers are going to be done with AI. So
What about
think so?
therapists?
therapists too.
Okay, yeah, therapists are done.
Yeah.
You really think lawyers and therapists are going to be gone with AI?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I mean, not like 100%, of
Uh-huh.
course, but like, yeah, they'll be. If you're going to law school now, I don't know what you're going to do. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of lawyers that are looking for jobs soon.
Really?
Yeah. What about doctors? What do you think about doctors?
Same thing. I mean, they're going to go away like we've known them, but you're always going to need a doctor,
Yeah.
but they're not going to be. It's not exponentially growing. It's going the other way, right? It's going to be less demand, and I think doctors in the near future, it's like. They were like shamed in the beginning for using AI in a way. Now I think you're not going to be able to give a diagnosis without consulting AI.
I was talking about this with like my parents, and they were saying like how most people become doctors because it's like a set income. Like they're like, all right, if I study this, I go to school. Almost every time you leave like medical school, it's like boom, you have a job. Boom, you got money.
Yeah.
But now with AI, exactly, like you could literally leave medical school and then be like screwed.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
definitely
such a
not
scary thing.
definitely not a good awakening.
It's scary in 2025 and 2030. Who knows? That's what I'm saying. Like for lawyers now, like you got a couple of years to figure it out, but it's coming. Like I spend tens of thousands of dollars in lawyers' fees. I don't spend any almost now because I just take my old contracts. I'm like, here's what I want, fix this for me. And and I normally would have paid a guy, $400 an hour to fix that contract. And I do it in 3 minutes and it's better. Right. And I'm like, no, make it better for me, make it stronger this way. Right.
That's the same with websites. I feel like web design.
Yeah.
So many people like actual like web designers, like you pay them and they're like, all right, this will take me like a few days. Now you can just make AI do it. And then honestly, to older companies who aren't really like that tech savvy, you could sell it to them and just be like, yeah, this took me like a week, even though it took like 10 seconds.
Well, that's
And
what's
they'll
going
buy
to
it.
happen. That's all these shifts that I'm saying are going to happen in the very near future. All these little guys that are going to come up with ideas, and the big companies are going to be like, I don't really know how you did that, but for us, like $10
That's
million
valuable.
is a rounding error, so we'll just take it. We'll
Yeah.
buy, we'll buy your little thing that you got right here. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be sad.
Such a crazy fusion. Like, it's just insane. Like, what are we going to do with
I mean, there's a
this?
lot of there's a lot more opportunity in a lot of ways too for because you guys can learn it. Like I said, for a 50-year-old or something, like it's going to be a tough learning curve, right?
Yeah.
But you guys will, and the even younger generation is going to grow up with these tools and with AI part of their lives, right? When they're touching and feeling, and it's going to walk in and tell them, "Oh, you're hungry. Here's the best food you could eat right now," or whatever. Like they're going to have the robots make them snacks or whatever. So.
I think it's so weird that AI actually exists, like how advanced it is. Like when I'm doing my homework and I'm asking it certain questions, I'm just like, how does it know it like so fast? And like for you who didn't grow up with AI, like how did you study? Like how did you like scroll through the internet for like?
I didn't scroll through the internet when
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't
in
have
high
the
school.
internet.
I didn't have
You
the
had
internet.
textbooks. You had to like actually look through the textbooks. Like,
Yeah.
and
I
it
mean,
just
we
sounds
listened
awful.
to teachers and we took notes, and I mean, I wasn't like, I had lots of stories on how we got through those days, but it was definitely different. And
cheating was
it's-
definitely hard.
I mean, I had a friend who wrote a whole essay, and then at the end he wrote like "see also," and he listed the references because when you copied from the encyclopedia, which you guys probably don't know what an encyclopedia is, but he copied the whole page from the encyclopedia. So,
All right, so we're gonna move over to like our closing segment. So first thing I'll ask is if you could leave the listeners watching with one key takeaway, what would it be?
the key takeaway would be that cross country is cool, right? We want to get rid of this image of cross country being the nerds, right? These are some of the best athletes at the school. We have the most successful team.
Yeah.
And among all of La Jolla, like we've been third and fourth in state the past 2 years. So it's like, and I don't think any other team could say they've been, top 3 or 4 in the state. So
100%.
Yeah. All right, and with that question,
and I'm the other message I would say is just like when you like see my kids in the hall, feel free to just like push them into a locker or give them a noogie or whatever, So
all right, with that, we'll be closing our episode. Thank you so much, Adam, for coming out. You were an amazing guest. Yeah,
it was great.
It was
great
amazing.
talking.
Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Check us out. Stay safe. We love you guys.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
In La Jolla. Stay safe. The streets are dangerous here.
Leilani.
We are running.
Safety. Safety first.
Can you guys do your job?
I think we
I think
are.
it would be way more professional if all of us had like coffee or something.
Are they all framed
Yeah.
together?
What do I
Guys,
say?
the
What do I say?
Viking
Hello.
voice,
The Viking
episode 4.
Viking voice. Episode? We're on 4?
Yeah.
We're on episode 4. You guys don't know the name.
Lies.
The line doesn't concern itself. No, Christian knows all about that. Shut
Let's get a little intro going.
All right, we're ready? Right about.
It's gonna look so bad.
No,
Ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1.